very first episode of Pitch Cafe podcast. This is a place where talent meets coffee. Today, I'm going to have a very interesting conversation with Deepti Rao. She's a very enterprising person because she's not only in a very hotshot corporate job at Facebook but also an angel investor. She knows a lot about startups and innovation. The reason I brought her on this podcast was she shares tips and tricks for fresh graduates to move into product management and such similar high paying jobs. She comes from Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook background, and she kind of tells you how to clear the interviews in these companies. Other than that, she also has unique insights on how fresh graduates can slowly move into angel investing. She's a person who believes social impact and money can happen at the same time. So she invests a lot in tier 2 and tier 3 city startups, and she is driven by social impact. So if you're a social impact startup, she's an angel investor based in Silicon Valley. Please reach out to Deepti Rao. Her show is called Makers Bar, but she has been kind enough to grace our show, the Pitch Cafe podcast. And with that, without further ado, let's get started with a podcast with Deepti Rao, angel investor and product leader at Facebook. I'm very happy to have on this podcast a special guest, Deepti Rao. She's not only a good friend, but also at a very young age, she is an investor. Not that she spends all the time in angel investing. Deepti has been working with a lot of big wigs in the past. She has been at Amazon, Microsoft. She's been with Manhattan Associates, and now she leads a very prestigious product technical PM role at Facebook Pay. Payment platforms are the hottest trends in investment and startup landscape today, and there is a lot the viewers can learn from Deepti's journey. Without wasting any more time, let's get started with the podcast. Welcome, Deepti. Welcome to Pitch Cafe.
Thank you so much, Vida. Thanks for having me.
And also, I want to add a small fact here. She was a judge at one of our very first Pitch Cafe events where a lot of youth entrepreneurs came and pitched startup ideas. She is an expert in roasting because she is so good in angel investing. Now, you may be confused, how does somebody who holds a very high stress product job in Facebook also spend time in angel investing? That is why we are having this podcast. All of you guys who think they are very young or too young to be an investor or too young to hold a job in Facebook and do investing, just talk to Deepti and you will get all your answers. That's what I'm doing. So just join me here. So Deepti, tell me a little bit about the person behind this aura. You know, you host a lot of events. Today you said you were in a hackathon at Facebook, and you're also hosting this podcast Makers Bar where you screen founders and you're into angel investing. What is this? What is the person behind Deepti's aura? Who is this person? How does she operate?
I think the person would be someone who's really interested in learning and trying new things. I think that's this endless curiosity and this quest to understand the world better is probably the driving factor behind everything I do. So, like you said, I've worked for really big companies, and I was always itching to be a part of the startup world in some way. So because I don't have the guts to start my own startup yet, I thought the best way would be for me to advise startups and leverage all the experience I have and give back to the community. So that's how my angel investing journey started. So besides just giving capital, I think we also provide a lot of our time and being available to the founders at very early stages and helping them make pivotal decisions that could actually make or break their journey. That is very gratifying. So in short, someone that's always curious and eager to learn, I think that would probably sum up my professional journey.
No, I totally, understand where you come from, because I'm also an aspiring founder, and I know one very seasoned Silicon Valley investor said, unless you've been a founder, you can't really be a good investor or get into that shoes. Or if you've not been in the startup world, you can't be an investor. So you've been in the startup world, and now you're into investing. So so tell me, what is it like when you meet a first-time founder? What are the youth like? What do you think about this youth entrepreneurs when you meet them for the first time? What are some of the common observations now that you've been angel investing? What is your observation?
I think the great thing about young entrepreneurs is they've been unspoiled by the world, so they're less cynical versus someone that's been in the industry for a while. So you've kind of seen things work, things not work. So a little bit more cynical. So I love the energy around you because. For better or worse, they're not so cynical about the world, and they feel like they can do anything. And more often than not, just that belief enables them to do just that. And I work for a company which was started by a youth entrepreneur, and I've seen how far it can go just if you have the right idea, the right team, and the right mindset. So I think just being at Facebook itself has made me a believer in the power of an idea, something that came out of a college dorm that could grow into this almost $1 trillion company. So that really reinforced my belief in the power of a strong founder and a great idea. So yeah, that's been my observation, and especially India is on this a really cool trajectory with many more unicorns coming up, and also like youth trying to always take risks and build stuff. So it's really gratifying to be able to give back to my home country and work with these young founders that have that are looking to the stars and with ambition. And they're also, and I also prefer to work with companies where there is some positive social impact. So if it's not just about the money, but also it's also about are you making someone's life better? And so that is the underlying mission is very important to me. So I pick and choose founders that do have a strong mission that kind of guides them.
Yeah, I think one of the wise words I've heard is, if you have lost your way, it's because you've lost your why. If you know your why, it keeps you grounded and you'll never lose your way. So looks like you work with founders who have a great why. And I also like this statement you made about the bright prospects of unicorns in India, and the youth in India. So, what is happening on that front? You invest so much in founders, youth founders in India. So, what are some of your observations? What is trending, and what are the things the youth are doing right? You know,
Mhm.
in rolling out startups. What do you think are some of the top trends?
I feel like there is more founders that are coming out of the straight out of college. When I was in college, that was never a path we considered. It would, if at all, we
Yeah.
were thinking of coming up with a company of our own. It was, you were assured that it would be an uphill climb because access to capital was not as easy as it is today. So I think with the rise of small angel investors like you and me, and also the VC ecosystem in India that's becoming more prolific, access to capital has become very easy. And I think that is also definitely powering a lot of this creativity and boldness from kids. I wouldn't say kids, but founders straight out of college. Uh, so that is definitely a trend I've seen, and I think it's good with the right guidance. At that age, you have the energy and also the risk taking abilities that probably fades a little bit as you get into the industry and get a little bit more jaded. So I think it's great. It's a good time to start. Anytime is a good time, but I think it's a great time to do that out of college. But that also means that you need to have a more sane advisory group of people that have also seen the way things work. So it's great as a founder to have all these dreams, but you should also surround yourself with the right team of advisors and people that will complement you and give you probably the knowledge and wisdom that you might not have at that stage of your life. So I think when you have a good combination like that, and of course the right why, and like you said, and also the right set of people working with you, I think sky's the limit.
Oh, fantastic. So, so that is about the startups. Now let's come back to your original journey. You've been with Microsoft and Amazon and now Facebook. Let's say there's a youth sitting somewhere in India and, they're dreaming about getting this, after I graduate, I want to work for Facebook. I love this slogan, build fast, break things, move on. They have this amazing attitude. And I mean, I don't want to lie. Facebook offices are so glamorous. Like I've been to the one in Mumbai. All the Bollywood stars visit there, and I've been to the one in Menlo Park here. It's just amazing, like breathtaking. Some of the things they do there on campus. So tell me, what will your advice be to anybody who wants to get a job at Facebook or
Mm-hmm.
of these big league companies? Let's start with Facebook first.
Sure. So with Facebook, you need to really enjoy what you're doing, and that will show in the way you do your interviews, right? So of course, the interviews are a little bit harder to get into. I think they hire one out of every 3,000 applicants, depending on the role, but that's kind of the general statistic. So definitely, like, enough preparation during the interview is needed, and I would advise take the help of someone that's either at Facebook or has worked at Facebook. That will definitely help a lot with your interview process itself. So I also do like interview coaching for people. So definitely that would be something I would advise. But besides that, also decide on why you want to work for Facebook. Of course, the perks are great, but that shouldn't be the only reason. If you should really believe in the mission, and again have the right why, whether it's starting your own company or working for another company, and that will definitely help you sail through both the good days and the bad. So from an interview perspective, I would say definitely use all the resources out there, reach out to people that can help you with your interview journey, and put in enough prep time before you actually go out and do the interview, because it is not very easy. It's not something that you can just crack without preparation, is what I would say. Even if you're really good at what you do, just structuring your answers so that it comes across in those 45 minutes is also essential.
Yeah, and are the Facebook product interviews as challenging or different than the Facebook programming interviews? Let's say, most college grads will apply for a programming job more often than not. I know there are other kinds of roles, communication roles, there are finance roles. Facebook is quite big, but since you're in product, I just want to ask, how is it challenging? What is the challenge in Facebook product interviews versus the programming?
So I haven't interviewed as an engineer at Facebook, but having been and having worked with engineers, I know that it's definitely pretty rigorous in terms of how they test you. And I think you also need to kind of write some code to prove your mettle. So the difference between product and say technical interviews would be that product is a little bit more subjective, and there is more element of creativity a little bit, and there's also an element of how you present your case. So the communication and presenting of your ideas matters more, versus in so even if you're great as a product manager, and even if you can knock it out of the park as a PM in your job, if your interview doesn't capture that, unfortunately you might not make it through. So for better or worse, that is it is the way it is. And similarly, but with engineering, I think there is it's a little bit more objective. So as long as it's a little bit more binary than the product interviews are.
Right. So the reason I asked was product management is like being CEO of the product, and it's very likely that a product manager could become a successful CEO, because a lot of startups are now, major portion are product led growth startups. And uh,
True.
that's the reason and I know a lot of people, founders coming from Facebook, from my friend circle itself.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
think your advice is great. So if a entry level engineer is dreaming of getting into product in Facebook, what is that one thing he needs to focus on?
Uh, I think definitely think of various. So there is 3 rounds of three
Into
kinds of interviews, right? There's one which is called product sense, which is given a very vague space or a problem. How would you solve it? How do you come up with the right set of people to solve it for? How do you
correct.
justify that? And then how do you come up with multiple product ideas and pick the best one, and also justify why you're doing it, and then actually come up with the MVP. So that is the product sense interview. And then there's the execution, where you uh, decide on the right metrics for given a product, what would be the best way to measure success. And then there's the leadership and drive, which talks about like how well do you collaborate, how well do you lead a team without authority, because as a PM people don't report you as much. You're more leading through influence than with authority. So those are the 3 kind of axes that you get measured by. So I would say, if you want to prep, start by coming up with random prompts yourself and see how you would develop that into a product. So just train your mind to think in those lines, like how can I solve this problem for a product? And then also think of, okay, what is given, say Uber or DoorDash or whatever, what would be the metrics? How does that company measure success? So if you start thinking about that, I think you're already training your mind to prepare for any product interview, not just at Facebook.
Right. Amazing. You talked about these 3 axes. It's so clear now. Like your customer segmentation, know who your customer is, then you know your success metrics, and be very good at leading by influence. And this is exactly what a startup founder will need. When a startup founder is,
Mhm.
nobody knows them. Don't have any influence. They've come out of their job. Nobody knows them. They have to lead by influence. Even to hire the first team, they have to lead
Exactly.
them. So it is
Exactly.
essentially an exercise in product management. A startup is in a lot of
Very
ways.
true. Very true. Whether the job itself gives you skills to start a startup is debatable, because you work for such a large company. So once you get into the ocean, you're just another drop. So I don't know if just working at Facebook would give you, but definitely preparing for the interview, like you said, would train your mind to come up with new ideas, because you're essentially building a 0 to 1 product during the interview.
Correct.
So
Correct. So fantastic. You know, I I wanted to also ask, what is the difference in the work culture you found in Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook? They're like 3 giants. I think maybe one day you'll have Google Google on your resume as well. But with these 3 giant pillars, what is the difference? Did you see any difference in work culture
let
or
me speak about Amazon and Facebook, because those are the most recent. Microsoft was almost like 10, 15 years ago. So it's been a while. So I'm sure the culture has changed since then. So with Facebook, the culture is very collaborative and open, and you're encouraged to try things and fail. Like even today, the hackathon culture that we have. So people are definitely encouraged to try different things, think out of the box, be humble and vulnerable. So that is one of the things I really liked about the culture at Facebook, like being vulnerable about what scares you with your manager actually helps, so that the manager can support you better. So it's a very bottom up culture at Facebook. So sometimes you can pitch an idea, and through the hackathon, many of those have actually become products at Facebook as well. Versus Amazon, I felt like it was more top down. There would be something that your VP decides, and everyone just goes and executes. And it was it was less collaborative. It was more competitive as a culture. Yeah, so you can pick and choose what you like. If you like more friendly, collaborative environments, Facebook is your place. If you like being cutthroat and competitive, and that really gets your juices flowing, then definitely go for Amazon.
No, I've heard this a lot about, from multiple sources, this debate about work culture. And
Mhm.
the principles which Jeff Bezos writes in his books, the 14 principles, where
Mhm.
single person led management, where the VP
Right.
does everything, it's very rampant. You
Right.
know, so maybe we'll take it up for another podcast, that particular discussion. So let's talk about your fun side. What is one confession you have to make, uh, or one secret you want to reveal on this podcast? Never talked about.
I recently found out that I have this skill for roasting, which I did not know. So thanks for letting me discover that.
Very tricky, very tricky. Okay, if you were to roast someone you worked with, who would that person be, and what would you roast them for?
Sorry, roast who?
Somebody you worked with. If you want to roast them, like it could be anybody in the past or currently, or
Mhm.
what would you roast them for, and who's that person?
Huh. Yeah, it would probably be, well, it's hard to roast people that you work with. It's yeah, so maybe it could be the engineering manager I worked with who who didn't know exactly what product we were building, but he had this
I,
whole vision that was like totally orthogonal to what we were actually building, and he was trying to push for that, which made no sense. So I would have roasted him, saying that, hey, you should understand what we're building first before coming up with your own vision.
you do that. You did that in Pitch Cafe, so that's good. You got it all out.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like taken in the right spirit, this the roasting or the negative feedback can actually at your initial stages help you a lot more than just people being nice to you. So
I like.
uh,
No, you did it in a very balanced way. And another thing I liked was there is this theory of reversing startup failures. I worked with a professor, in MIT, and he roasts the idea even before you state the problem. They roast it so
mhm.
much. Most
Yeah,
founders get tired of going through that framework. I think I
yeah,
like that framework because by the time 6 out of 10 people are tired, they say, I hate this problem. I can't
yeah,
work on it for 7 years.
yeah,
I have to answer so many questions. I'm not. So only four of them are really genuine, make it through, and
mhm,
one startup comes out of it. So
yeah,
six failed startups are saved right away, right off the bat.
yeah,
Roasting in a right spirit, like you said, even at workplace, you can
mhm,
corporations, you can save a lot of projects. So that's a great statement you made. I hope the audience will take that in the right spirit. And before I want to keep you here forever. I'm learning a lot, but we have to close the podcast. So before we close our very first podcast on Pitch Cafe, I want to ask you, what is your advice to youth who want to get into good companies and corporation, or who want to do startups, or who want to get into investing? These
mhm.
three directions. What is your advice to them? How do you want to give them clarity?
Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, there are three different personas. So my advice would probably be different. So for people that want to get into, let me start with those because that is something I can directly identify with. I think preparation for the interview is actually as important as just knowing your uh, whatever subjects, right?
Right.
So because being able to distill all that into that 45 minutes and presenting it to the interviewer in a way that lands is actually quite a hard skill. So I would say do spend enough time just preparing. There's enough material on YouTube and you can start from there and then do your mock interviews with someone that's like a coach. That would definitely help you in your journey of landing a job with a good company. For startup founders, I think, yeah, definitely fail fast, as they say, and use your failures. Don't. I think pivoting is very important. And at times you might get advice that asks you to pivot, and being open to that is actually can actually make or break your startup. So being open to feedback and being humble enough to acknowledge that you might not have all the answers,
Right.
especially because especially if you're straight out of college, you might actually not know what you don't know. So building the right team and surrounding yourself with people that probably know more than you, and listening to them will actually help save and actually grow your company as well. So I think that way Mark Zuckerberg did a good job. He surrounded himself with all the people, the right team of people that were more experienced than him, like Cheryl and everyone else. So so being self-aware of maybe what you lack, and finding team that complements that is essential.
Yeah, I think, yeah, and even he got that investor, who made him move from Boston to Valley, and
Yeah,
he gave him a lot of big connections. They
yeah, yeah.
So you're right. He's a listener. He listens to advice. Yeah.
Correct.
And
Yeah. So I
I
think that always works in your interest. Listen more than just know, assuming, just thinking that you know everything might not really work in your favor. So definitely be open to feedback and implement that feedback. So humility, I would say, is probably one of the most underrated skills for entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Couldn't agree more with you. And I used to make fun of my friend at the age of 26. He wanted to be an investor. He used to write code in a hardware company, and I used to take classes in writing with me. He was so bad in writing technical publications. So he became an investor. No matter what route he took, he did his MBA. But you don't have an MBA, but there you are, this amazing job at Facebook, and you're also an investor. So what is your advisor to youth who want to get into investing
Mhm.
right off the job? What is your advice?
I think I have been I got into angel investing only a couple of years ago. So before that, I was an investor more in the stock market, which I continue to do. So I think that's a good way to learn. So understanding what moves big companies gives you a good idea of what may or may not work in the market in general. And then using that knowledge to, apply to startups would be a good way, instead of jumping straight into, investing in as an angel investor. Also, note that angel investment is is still very risky. Early stage companies, I don't know what the exact statistic is, but more than 90% go bust is the statistic. So if you only invest that which you can afford to lose or not see the light of day for the next 5 to 6 years. So yeah, we've been lucky. I invested and within less than a year, some of the startups have shown returns and exited. So, but that doesn't happen very often. So be prepared to hold on for 5 years. And also, I would invest in companies where either I can provide value or I strongly believe and or I believe in the mission, and also something where you think that the idea, where you strongly believe in the idea as well, not just the mission but also in the execution. So think of those terms, and yeah, start small. And I wish I had the better, I haven't I don't know if I'm the best person to be investing about angel investing, but I think, yeah, that would be my advice. Don't invest money that you need in the next 2 or 3 years at least.
One thing about good investors I have observed, after working in the Valley with so many investors, they always have a contingency plan. If this
Mhm.
investment goes bust, how will I survive?
Right,
And they
right.
have very strong plans. So they're not going to go out on a limb and invest into something they believe. They have a plan, backup plan. So that's sign of a sturdy, strong, long-standing investor, which you have. And I hope that you continue to do good work as an investor, creating a lot of social impact, and also at Facebook. Any spiritual journey secrets you have, which you want to share before we wrap up and call it a night? Yeah.
I know, switching gears all the way. So yeah, I have always been very spiritually inclined, but so it may so, and then some events in your life actually really push you to spirituality, right? Like so that, yeah, my father died 6 years ago, and that really, like, overnight changed my thoughts about the world and how I'm viewing the world and all that. So it but even before that, I was always like interested, so I used to read a lot of books. So there is a difference between knowing something at an intellectual level and knowing something experientially. So I feel like
Yeah.
spirituality has become such a buzzword that everyone thinks that, okay, doing yoga and reading a book makes them spiritual. It's a good way to get started, but I think life is the best teacher. So if you want to be spiritual, I would say just uh, like accept life and see every my biggest learning has been see every setback as a learning experience. Instead of say thinking of why is this happening to me, I think about it as, wow, what is this teaching me? And that has been transformatory in my journey.
Yeah.
So maybe that's and also I would say do it with a guru. So find the guru that kind of vibes with you, uh, and there's plenty available, but definitely having a guru helps you stay more focused in that journey. And it's like having a coach for your interview prep, right? Like that's definitely faster than
Yeah.
preparing, because there's so many things out there. So and then once you go through the guru, you might actually get to a point where you don't need a guru, or
Yeah.
yeah, or you might outgrow your guru, and that's fine too. But it's good to get started through a guru that helps guide your way.
Absolutely. Just listening to you, I find so much meaning, within myself. Just trying to map what you're saying, it gives me so much strength. So I'm sure there is a lot more to it in experiential practices. So I hope all of you who are listening will go find this experiential learning way of, being spiritual. It can apply to startups, it can apply to life, it can apply to any journey you're willing to take. So with that, thank you, Deepti, for this amazing 45 minutes. I think it was priceless. You touched upon how to find jobs in the great companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook, how to interview for product, how to interview for development positions. You inspired the youth on how to become an investor, and how to be successful as a startup founder, or find a great job in a corporation. So this is like an overall life coaching session for all of you who are listening. So thank you so much, Deepti, and I hope we can have many more such sessions together. Thank you so much.